What's happening, guys? Welcome to another edition of Pro Wrestle Times Podcast, PWT Podcast. Phil here. Yeah. And Hairline is still not here, but we give him a yeah anyways. Yeah.
What?
We're back in this mother blah blah. And I'm riding solo again, guys. Yay! I told you I'd try and pump out the content to make up for 50% of the show being gone. Shout out Hairline. Let me do the plugs and I'll give you an update on what he's up to. Shout out Mark Hugh the Mark, Ashley V, and Ricardo Rando, Reggie Rodriguez, Hairline's manager. Show you guys out, man, for joining the Patreon.
Yeah!
Patreon.com/ProWrestleTimes. Hours of bonus content, you know, just more podcasts and more watch-alongs, like where we're drinking and smoking and doing, you know, funny shit like that. So what do you want to talk about? Hairline. I'll just jump right into the show. Oh, sorry, actually, he'd slap me if he was here and I didn't say at Pro Wrestle Times on all of social media, PWT Podcasts on TikTok, where Hairline is active. And guys, you can become a member of our YouTube page at Pro Wrestle Clips if you'd like. You get all the videos early, 99 cents. That's another way to support us. It's something new. I don't know. YouTube offered it, so we're trying it out. But there's a little confusion, guys. If you listen to us on this channel, this is youtube.com/@ProWrestleTimes, right? This is just our podcast's channel. Our main channel is Pro Wrestle Times Clips. So Pro Wrestle Clips, actually, on youtube.com/ProWrestleClips. Okay? That's like our main channel. That's where you'll get like the variety and the clips and different just, you know, things I create or little snippets I take from podcasts of wrestling shoots I'm listening to or whatever. That sort of thing. So I see some people being like, where I saw your gaming content, where did it go? Well, on Pro Wrestle Times, that's just our literal podcast page. And with our video gaming stuff, we might actually launch like Pro Wrestle Times Games as its own channel. But again, we're just figuring it all out. It's a lot of work. And we just appreciate you all so much, man. You guys show up and show it all the time. Make sure the free way to support us, you just hit that like, that subscribe, leave a comment, share it around. You guys already do. We love you so much for that. Yeah. So Hairline, update. He's doing way better than I thought he would be. Again, I'll let him explain whatever if he wants to. If he doesn't, you guys do not fucking push it or ask or anything like that. Just know that I'll just put it this way, literally just crazy shit happened and we're just fortunate he's around, honestly. And but he's good though. Like you know, I'll let him talk about it. He's okay, other than like the experience of it all, you know. And that's about all I can really say. But he's doing but he's like watching wrestling and messaging me, marking out about DIY being back together. Yeah. I knew he would be, but yeah, he's like texting me, yo, I'm watching this. So I don't know. He's like doing good and he's wrestling's his escape and he's in a good place right now, like physically and mentally. So yeah, shout out Hairline, and I think he'll be back sooner than later. But Hairline's a guy where if he says I'm taking October, he's probably taking October. You know what I mean? So get used to me, because I'm gonna try and like at least double up the content to make up for, you know, just the man not being here, you know. Anyways, Hairline will be back, not to worry, people. All of your good spirit bomb energies, and shout out, you know, like AEW neckbeards. He gets a lot of flack for, you know, Hairline's even shot on on AEW botches and AEW neckbeards on the show, but like he reached out and is like, tell Hairline I wish him the best and stuff, you know. Like at the end of the day, we're all human, and you know, he's going through it, but he's in like a good place. I can tell that, you guys, that as someone who knows him, you know, better than most people. That's for goddamn sure. So, anyways, moving along with the show, I'm gonna review NXT, Dynamite, Edge's debut, Dynamite, all that sort of stuff. So let's just jump right into NXT. Basically, the overarching thing is like, well, not the overarching thing, but the big kind of thing that they're putting over is the 2023 NXT Women's Breakout Tournament. It begins tonight. I'm pulling for Lola Vice. I hope my girl Valerie Lareda, aka Lola Vice, fucking wins it. Yeah. And yeah, so the show kicks off. Becky Lynch hits the ring. She's looking fucking great, man. Damn, she's so attractive. It's crazy. And she said her and Tiffy are both unable to compete. Tiffy got the hard way blood, and when it was a hardcore match, literally at the pay-per-view. So neither of them are able to compete. And basically Lyra Valkyria or whatever comes out and is like, yo, you inspired me, and da-da-da-da. And then Roxanne Perez comes out and is like, I'm done with these opportunities. I don't know. I kind of got cringed out, and they're just doing a triple threat match. And the winner will face Becky Lynch at night 1 of Halloween Havoc. So Halloween Havoc getting the WrestleMania treatment. Yeah. So up next, Butch and Tyler Bates, so Mustache Mountain or whatever they were called, the British Strong Style rather. They team up to take on Gallus, Mark Coffey, and Wolfgang with Joe Coffey. Now, I always ask Hairline this, but I never remember the answer. Does Mark and Joe ever team up? Do they just rotate with Wolfgang? I feel like Wolfgang's always in there. I like the Coffey brothers. I like all these guys involved. Again, they have like the best. Just when Dave Meltzer before is like, oh, well, it depends the star ratings. If there's really good stuff going on in Britain, and I really like that. Okay, they have the best. Like, what changed in the last few years? Oh, the people that didn't have a company that he really liked now have a company. Not to shit on AEW, guys. Remember, I turned a new leaf on AEW. We're being more positive now, guys. But this is a good match. I don't know. It's cool. Are they breaking up the Brawling Brutes? That's kind of what I'm curious about. Either way, I'll watch Butch and Tyler Bate wrestle these kind of matches all day and all night. Again, this show really established the fact that this is becoming the third main roster, which is shit I'm going to talk about at the end after I kind of go through the matches here. But Ilya Dragunov comes in the ring. He's like, yo, Carmelo. And then Trick Williams comes out. And then he's like, Carmelo Hayes brought the fight, but we're the men, like we're the champs, whatever. Carmelo comes out, he's limping, he's still selling it. And then, Trick is like, yeah, we boys. And then Dragunov basically starts, as Hairline would say, cucking him out in front of Trick. And he's just basically like, yeah, this is champ shit in here, like, blah, 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 blah. And we're going to get Dominik Mysterio versus Trick Williams in the NXT North American Championship rematch in the main event. And this time, Mommy's back with Dom, but Dom comes out during this segment, starts talking shit. And this was cool. It's just showing you like your main event NXT picture. It's so funny because Hairline would say, oh, dude, Dom went from this guy that I wanted to send down to NXT, and then but like now look how over he is. And now it's like he's this over, and then they threw him back down to NXT. It's rather ingenious. And I believe that they're really making plays at getting NXT to be the third brand. But not only that, so we talked about on the last show, Tony Khan literally booked next week's Dynamite on October 10th, Title Tuesday, which is his birthday. Shout out Libras. I'm a Libra. Rocktober. Yeah. But he he literally booked a Dynamite Edge's first match for his own birthday. It's the most super sweet 16. Super my sweet 16. You guys remember that show? That's literally what this is for Tony Khan, except for every day is his birthday. When you're a billionaire, it's like every day is your birthday, right? But either way, they're gonna put John Cena. They announce it somewhere on this show. I'll probably skip over the segment, but John Cena is going to be on NXT next week. Our boy. Yeah. I gotta cut the music off because last time we got a copyright warning, like, yo, don't use this music. Dummy, yeah. Oh shit.
Dummy, yeah.
So John Cena is gonna be on NXT next week, right? There, I don't know. Is that gonna pop a 2 mil rating? Probably not, but they'll probably get over 1M, or it's the way to counteract Edge's first match. It's kind of fucked. WWE is gonna like counter program against Edge, but then you could just argue like, well, Edge is counter programming against WWE, and furthermore, you could say maybe, oh well, some people are calling Edge a traitor. I don't buy into any of that, and I think all's fair in love and war, and all's fair in competition. And people go, see, AEW is a competition, but it's not. It is, but it isn't, right? Like, this is why it's not, because they can just go John Cena show up at NXT, that AEW has to like whip out Edge and Omega and shit to get a fucking Millie if they're lucky. They need Punk and they need all hands on deck. Whereas WWE, they can just go, hey, we got John Cena. Oh, John Cena can't go? Okay, we'll send fucking Ray, Bobby Lashley, and you know what I mean? They could just we'll send LA Knight to NXT with fucking Jey Uso. They could just do anything to pop that number. So I'm not hating whatsoever. I'm not hating whatsoever, but I'm just saying, like, WWE is able to do that, and AEW doesn't fully have that pull. So I think all's fair in love and war as far as them competing. And like, you can't, if you want AEW to be competition, then you can't cry when WWE treats them as such. You guys dig what I'm saying? Can you dig it, sucker? You can't cry if they're like, okay, let's spank these guys, right? Like, if it's competition, it's competition. Point blank, period. So you got to take the fucking L's with the W's. And that's the problem with this psychotic portion of the fan base. But I don't know, man. I've been tuning them out a lot lately too. It's just like, fuck those people, man. I'm gonna tap into the real ones. I'm still gonna roast my shit and be funny. But yeah, that's why we have the best listeners. And, even if there's less of us out there around the world, I'd rather cultivate all of you guys and garner all of y'all in our comments. I can see, like, for the vast majority, we have actual intellectual fucking people to a degree who can, like, at least understand, at least just watch wrestling from like a perspective that isn't just being a complete and utter fucking marky dirtbag. Which, if you're that, there's nothing wrong with that. Just stop being psychos online. It's just a turnoff for people, but everyone talks about the same old shit. I'm here to review wrestling. So Indy Hartwell is back, and she is in a triple threat match. I'm sure Hairline messaged me. He said when DIY returned at the end of on Raw, he's like, I was literally running around and dancing around my fucking house. So just for him to even say some fucking shit like that makes me go, he's doing good. But anyways, there's a triple threat. Lyra Valkyria gets the win, as we all knew was going to happen. Roxanne is just sort of, I don't know, call her up, or is she just sort of having her run now? Like, this is why NXT should be a third brand. The developmental, it's got to be a bunch of people we don't know, because, like, if that shit was FCW, Velveteen Dream would have never even been known by the masses. You know what I mean? He would have been main roster like instantly. So that's what whatever happened to that guy. So that's what I mean when I'm like, dude, NXT shouldn't be on TV. If it's because people still say, oh, they're developmental. Bro, it's, if this isn't main roster wrestling, like when it's Dragunov, Mellow, Trick, Braun Breaker, and also that's about to be on NXT next week at Halloween Havoc. Paul Heyman is going to be in Braun Breaker's corner. So what the fuck, man? He's their new Brock Lesnar. Like, they're looking at him like, yeah, dude, let's put him with Paul fucking Heyman, buddy. And Paulie's worked with the Steiners in the past, brought them to ECW and all type of shit. Maybe that was before Paulie's time, but I don't think it was. I think he worked with them in WCW too. All I'm saying, man, this is it's crazy. And you can't tell me that main event scene on NXT isn't as compelling as, maybe, I guess, like Roman. I mean, Roman's not there, but he doesn't need to be there. But it's a very compelling main event scene on NXT, I must say. Like, honestly, NXT's been crushing it lately. So either way, this match was whatever, though. I don't care for a lot of these girls are interchangeable, I feel like, and I hate to be that way, you know. Valkyria's sweet, but it's whatever to me. Anyways, backstage, Breakers with Hayes. He's like, I'm the only one who knows how you feel. The crowd starts chanting for Ilya. No more Mellow chants. He's like, yo, Trick, da 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 da. We're gonna get Mellow and Breaker versus Trick and Dragunov. That's coming. Yeah. Okay. Davenport versus Gigi Dolan. Gigi Dolan got that. Okay. Davenport did her hair nice. I just don't really care about her, and I think Gigi should be in fucking fighting Becky or something. Like, I don't know what happened. You know, she's just kind of floundering. But then also I'm saying that, and it's really WWE does the most like women's book. Like, women are prevalent in all of their shows. You know, so whatever. Backstage, Kiana James and Roxanne Perez. Kiana James like taking shots at Roxanne. You've been the golden child. Da 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 da. Roxanne's gonna turn heel. We know that. Asuka is going to be on NXT next week as well. So they're going hard at Title Tuesday. Fucking Kana's going to be there, the greatest Joshi wrestler in the world. It's great. And so will John Cena, the GOAT. NXT Women's Breakout Tournament first round. Dude, there's been some guy in our comments lately too, just, you guys are pimping WWE. You just love WWE. Blah, 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 all this shit, dude. It's crazy. And it's like, yeah, I mean, yeah, I try to enjoy the shit that I enjoy as much. Like, you know what I mean? I put a bunch of Wrestle Dream over too, but you're a fucking mark and you're not going to listen to that. Dummy. Yeah.
Dummy. Yeah.
But then we had the NXT Breakout Tournament first round. Kalani Jordan versus Izzy Dame. I completely tuned out. I did not care about this. Duke Hudson and Andre Chase asked Thea Hale if they could support her for her tag match. Hale said no, but JC said that might be a good idea. We got Hale and Jane with Chase U taking on Lola Vice and Elektra Lopez. Lola Vice is just money through and through. So is Hale and JC Jane. But again, it's like, they ruined Hale for me. But yeah, Hale and JC Jane won, so good for them. And then backstage, Hayes was shown leaving the building. He said Trick doesn't need his help. When asked if he's going to take Braun Breaker's advice, he said no. And then he said, I want a match next week against Breaker. So he's like, I just got off the phone with somebody who gave me real advice. So it's probably going to be Cena. We're going to get Cena given all the main event scene here a main event rub on NXT next week. I don't know. I'm tuning in. What are you guys tuning into? Title Tuesday or NXT? Let me know below in the comments or whatever. So the NXT North American Championship match. So Trick just won this shit on Sunday. Or Saturday rather, and it's fucking Tuesday, and he lost the shit. Trick loses the belt. Rhea Ripley's with Dom, so they're putting the underlying story that Dom only wins when he's got backup. More specifically, Rhea Ripley when he's with Mommy, and it's really Mommy. Like, she's cut a fiery promo on the last Raw, going basically saying, "I run the Judgment Day, and you motherfuckers are fucking up when I'm not here." Like, I leave for a week or two and you're all losing belts and shit. And so Dom is allowed to come home, and Dom won the belt, man. He basically fucking Balor came down and McDonough came down and Priest came down. We got all the Judgment Day on NXT. And yeah, they hit him with the title when the ref wasn't paying attention, and Dom got the frog splash and pinned him. Now, people are mad at this. I am too. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, let Trick run with it, and then him and Mello could have feuded for that. But here's the thing. Trick and Mello is so compelling. You don't need a belt for that angle. And it does more for Dom to carry that shit around and to help NXT along. And at least Trick can go, yes, I beat Dom clean one-on-one when he wasn't fucking around. And then, yes, when he cheated, he beat me. There's a rematch down the line. But I've been I've been whooping that Trick. I ain't really been beat like that. And I'm a former North American champion, and him and Mello can feud where the belt doesn't even need. Then you have, like, think about, you have like a huge angle with him and Mello. You have a huge angle with Dom and whoever. You got Braun getting involved with Corbin and whatever else. Now he's getting involved with Mello and Trick and that. And then you have the Ilya Dragunov, and whoever he faces possibly could be Braun again. Who fucking knows? Could be Corbin. But all I'm saying is they have like a strong division in that main event NXT picture, if you want to call it that. So shout out NXT, bro. They're killing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's review Dynamite. So this episode of Dynamite emanated from Stockton, California. Yeah, the home of the Diaz brothers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get a Stockton slap in your biznatch. But this crowd, I think there was like 3K people there, but they turned out, man. And this crowd should be proud. Everyone should be happy and shouting out this crowd because they fucking turned out and they were loud as shit and they popped for all the right stuff. Guys, surprisingly, I'm gonna put over this This was the best episode of Dynamite in so long. If this is what they meant, the anniversary, 4-year anniversary, and it's the reinvent, what do they call it? The new era. If this is the new era, I implore you guys to go check out this episode of Dynamite. I can't stress it enough. Wow, they're clearly listening to the podcast. Clearly, Tony left the Discord, joined the Patreon, and is in the listening to the podcast every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they did literal everything. It was all of our favorite wrestlers that me and Hairline are like, well, why isn't it this guy? Or why isn't it more of this? It's literally all those people. And it was format. Okay, none of the matches were too long. The only match that had a chance of going too long ended up getting some time cut from it, which just made the show better, which I'll explain. And it is because of a botch. Now, there's a couple things we're going to criticize and goof on, obviously, because it's fucking AEW. But, dude, overall, like, watch Wrestle Dream, then watch this, and then just, like, start AEW from here. I truly feel like, I don't know what happened. Tony Khan got bit by a bug. Unleash those motherfuckers in his house. Infest his yard with them. Whatever they are, whatever bug he got bit with. The PWT bug.
Yeah.
Because this shit, I don't know. This is a phenomenal Dynamite where I literally could not, like, I was like half working while I was watching and I couldn't look away from the TV. So I said this on a bunch of podcasts ago. Yo, you remember in the Attitude Era when they'd, start the show, like Austin would show up at the arena and then JR would be like, oh my God, Austin's here. What does he want tonight? He's not planned till later tonight, but he's here tonight. And then like Austin might interact with someone and then you're compelled. And then you're like, holy shit, when is Austin going to show? They started the show like that. So they kicked the show off. They're in Stockton. We got Renee Paquette, Chris Jericho, and Kenny Omega. Canada, stand up.
Yeah.
And they are doing a little interview. Now, I love Jericho and Omega together. This is shit I literally fantasy mark booked when AEW started. This is what Jericho fantasy mark booked when AEW started. Two of the greats in the industry who took completely different roads to get to where they are as far as greatness, but they're from the same place in the world, Winnipeg, Canada. Yeah. And then they're going to team up and become the Golden Jets. That is shit I fantasy mark book. That shit's Jericho fantasy mark book. It's cool. They can take, like, Jericho doesn't need to be out there for 30-minute bangers. He's beating up his body a lot. Same with Kenny Omega. So these guys can do their thing without, hurting themselves too much or putting their bodies through too much more. They can share the load a bit. And you see that in their tag matches, which we'll talk about later tonight. But then as we're getting this Canada shit going on in the Jericho Kenny stuff, boom, all of a sudden Edge walks up. As I said before on the pod, Edge is friends with Kenny, or I mean, he just met Kenny, and that's a dream match. Edge is old buddies with Chris Jericho. And so Edge interrupts. This was so WWE, and fucking AEW fans are going to owe a lot of people apologies, man, for like Edge is going to get over using psychology and good pacing and good character work and storytelling, all the shit they go, WWE's boring. That's what he's going to. And then they'll justify it by going, well, not when it's good. But it's like, no, you shit on WWE. You can't tell me Bloodline's not a good story. Oh, but they fumbled. Look at what Jimmy's doing now. Okay, but for fucking 3 years, it's been the best story. There's a couple of missteps along the way. Days of Our Lives been on for 40 fucking years or whatever. It doesn't mean there wasn't a bit, right? Breaking Bad's the best show ever. It doesn't mean there's not a couple of fucking iffies in there. The first episode in particular of Breaking Bad was like is the worst episode in the series. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, there's going to be a misstep here and there. With AEW, it's like it's mostly missteps and then a little bit of sweet shit. But this whole episode of Dynamite was fucking phenomenal. So the camera pans over and Edge is standing there. I'm going to keep calling him Edge. Sorry, Adam Copeland, whatever. And I don't know. The crowd erupts for them again. Stockton, stand up. You guys made tons of noise for how little of people were there. You guys should be proud. And the crowd erupts for him, and then Kenny pops them by going, you really had us on the edge of our seats, you know, and the crowd pops huge for that. And I don't know, fucking shout out maple syrup, shout out Canada, dude. And then I'm like, okay, if so they tease Edge, and then but Edge has to make his mission statement later tonight, which is like, yes, you know, now I'm watching for Edge. So then the next match, AEW International Championship. Now, you guys know how hard I go on the International Championship division, the belt itself. Okay, I'm going to point out some positives here. At least Rey Fenix is an international star, so let me qualify him. He's Mexican, he's a lucha. Furthermore, is not only is he a star and multiple-time champion in America, I sound like Tony Khan, in America, and he's well known in Mexico, but he cut his teeth in Canada, guys, in British Columbia. Yeah, so like, you know, like he's on the Victoria, British Columbia Indies and shit in Victoria. You know what I mean? Things like that. So shout out Phoenix. And he comes out with Penn and Alex Abrahantes, and they're about to take on Nick Jackson. Now, Nick, if I got to watch either of the Bucks, I'm going to watch Nick. I don't actually hate the Bucks. Hairline knows this, but I don't. If you're awesome in movies and shit, or like wrestling, I like you in wrestling, I can separate that from like us hanging out. You know, there's certain, is right? It's like I shit on Tony Khan's wrestling shit, but I see myself, he's a wrestling geek like I am, you know. The same thing could be said for the Young Bucks. It's the opposite though. I don't see myself hanging out with these guys and liking it, but I can enjoy what they've done in wrestling. But that being said, I was worried. I was like, oh no, they're gonna muddy up. This is what I said. Like last show, I'm like, if they don't take advantage of this, they're gonna end up putting like Edge. They're gonna surround Edge with bullshit, right? So I was worried that's what this is gonna be. But no, guys, like I like flippy shit too. Flippy shit is fun. Flippy shit is fun when it's live wrestling. Flippy shit is fun when it's, especially when it's live, but it is fun on TV too. And I don't entirely hate on flippy wrestling, right? So this was a good flippy fucking match. I gotta be honest. Now, was there some ridiculous shit? Yes, but was it a solid match? And I think Phoenix ended up winning with a roll up. They were both selling really good. One dude was selling a foot, one dude was selling his back. And it wasn't like they were selling because of like, oh, they worked on it kind of thing. They were selling because like they botched and did silly shit. So this was a good indie match, but it didn't go too long. And it was like the flippy segment of the show. The rest of the show wasn't all flips and crazy shit. It was just, this was the flippy shit of the show. And so, and it didn't go too long. So it was phenomenal, honestly. And there was some false finishes. And in AEW, you never buy the false finishes, but I don't know. They were good enough. They were passable. Like if you just isolate this show, they were passable and good. You know what I'm saying? So now, hey, I'm not sitting here saying like, oh, this is the best match I've ever seen, but it's like, okay, a little bit of flippy shit. All right. Maybe it hooked people in. Maybe it turned people. I bet it turned people off. But that being said, at least they just featured two guys who do the flippy shit, who have chemistry. They've worked each other a million times. So it's not just like two green guys who haven't worked together, you know? Anyways, though, moving along, footage was shown from with Adam Cole visiting Roderick Strong's house, and the Kingdom was watching it. They did like a MJF Adam Cole thing, except for with Roderick Strong, where he's like Adam, and it was super funny. And he brought out like a tricycle, and then they both had wheels, so they're like injured together, so they're hanging out together more. It's rather ingenious. Who are the people under the mask with Jay White? I think it'll be Adam Cole and them. I think the swerve is like, okay, like Christopher Daniels could have been under that devil's mask, right? Like it could have been anyone under the mask, right? Like when you remember when the terrorists attacked Undertaker on SmackDown? Well, like Val Venus was one of the terrorists, right? Under the mask. It was just a body under a mask. It's not like, oh, it's going to be revealed Val Venus. So it could have been anyone under the devil mask, and then they'll just reveal it was Adam Cole once he's healed or whatever. right? And then they'll reveal Adam Cole and Roderick Strong will both be quote unquote healed when it's done, and it will be them in the kingdom. And then they'll be like, oh, we did this, like we've been silently having your back, and then Adam will go heel, and then Max will have to face him, which sort of means Jay White is probably not going to win the title, which is fine because he's a credible threat to the world title, which now MJF's in a real world title angle, which we'll get to in a bit. But the audio fucked up on this segment, so they had to replay it. Now, I would normally roast this, but it was actually a big time W because this segment was really funny. And you could hear, like, I guess they're like, they blamed it on TBS. It seemed more like an AEW production botch. Taz was like, you could just tell the look on his face was like, oh my God, you guys, like, get how every week are we doing the same audio issues? And so there was the audio issues again. And so they replayed the package after a bit, right? Which I'll explain. But this segment, vignette, whatever you want to call it, but this segment was actually good. Like, it was popping me. You could hear it through the TV, but I had to like turn my TV up, and the crowd was popping really good for it. So you could tell that they had it, that they could hear it in the arena really well, and it was going over in the arena as well, or the arena, I'm calling it, whatever, the stadium, whatever the fuck it is, the building. Okay, so anyways, up next we get Griff Garrison comes out, and you're like, okay, haven't seen him in a long ass time. Good to see him, I guess. What the fuck? And then all of a sudden, fucking Wardlow's music hit, and Wardlow comes back and just squashes Garrison with like 10 power bombs, pins him. The crowd wanted to see him. The crowd's chanting Wardlow, Wardlow. They're popping for the power bombs. He's super over. He gets in and out like it should be. Looks like $1 million, and the ref stopped the match by KO. Because Wardlow wouldn't pin him, he just kept power bombing him to death. So the ref's just like, it's over. Fuck, man. Another fucking, I'm going, holy shit, we got Wardlow back. Like, dude. So all I'm saying is that the show starts off really well. Then we get the flippy shit, and I'm super nervous. And then it was actually a good flippy shit match where guys were selling shit. And like, I'm not a small package guy, but the flippy guys won with a small package. I don't know. It was good. They were both selling. It was great. And then this vignette with Adam Cole and Roderick Strong, super good. Then Garrison comes out, I'm nervous. Wardlow comes and just bodies him, right? Ref stoppage. I love it. Renee's backstage with Don Callis and Takeshita. Now, I put over the fucking Callis family. Don Callis is saying, yeah, we're, Sammy Guevara's actually injured, which sucks. Will Ospreay obviously is not there all the time. So he's like, we have another young guy. Like, we have lots of young people trying to join our faction. So the next young guy I got who I want to join the faction is Kyle Fletcher. Now, obviously, he's one of the Aussie Open guys. Obviously, Tony Khan sees something in him. I don't know, man. I think Aussie Open, yeah, they end up splitting up, and I think this Fletcher kid's going to get a great push. And I instantly went, oh no, like this is going to shit up this match, right? So they're basically like, Fletcher is going to team up with Takeshita later tonight. And he might join our family too. You know, we got lots of young people who want a part of this, right? So a little bit of sizzle there for what happens later. And this was good. Callis is always good on the stick. And they said Fletcher, and I kind of groaned, but I'm going to put it over after. Surprisingly, you guys are probably like, Phil, what the fuck? So up next, we had the AEW Trios Championship match. But first, they go, TBS fucked up on the audio, so here's the Roderick Strong Adam Cole thing again. Now, I was like, oh, you guys, but this, I'm going to put it over because I got to watch it back and hear it with better audio, and I popped for it again because it's a good segment, right? Like, you guys can't deny that these Adam Cole MJF shits, they're funny, you know? If you're going to like do wrestling in this way where it's like you're filming cinematics and shit, you know, this is good for that stuff, right? We can't shit on it. Even WWE did it. Undertaker and AJ did it. John Cena did it with Bray, right? Everyone does this shit. So you gotta, you know what I mean? You gotta like, okay, it's a part of wrestling now. We gotta take the good, you know? So it's objectively good, you know, like good, funny, quality shit, right? It's not filmed poorly. It's funny. So I popped for it again. And then, so they had the Trios Championship match, the Butcher, the Blade, Kip Sabian with Penelope Ford. So again, it's just the Acclaimed stuffed in a random jobber match, but everybody loves the Acclaimed. The Acclaimed, pun intended, the Acclaimed come out, they body it with the fucking rhymes. Caster looks like he's straight freestyling. And that's how he seemed. Like this one seemed more off the top than anything. I know a little bit about this stuff, not to pull the curtains back, but one of my many things is I do work with a lot of rappers in my day. So I can tell you guys firsthand, like I don't know, he was coming with venom. And then it was the Butcher, the Blade, and Kip Sabian. So they replayed the Adam Cole thing, which is maybe not even 5 minutes long, I wouldn't say. So then it just chopped like the 3 or 4 minutes that this stupid jobber trio match was going to fucking go. Do you guys know what I mean? Like it just condensed it into a quick squash match for the trios champs. And you know what I mean? Like it was like a hard fought squash, like it was a rugged match where these jobbers came hard, but the Acclaimed inevitably put him away in just a few minutes. It was like a quick NWA style match. And I'm like, this is how you book wrestling. Like, thank God they had to replay that package or this match would have went 4 minutes too long. So it was like a fuck up that turned into a W for AEW. So that it was very Vince of them too to go, no, fuck you. We're going to do it again, pal. Yeah. Shout out Tony Khan for that. Up next, we got Juice Robinson and the Guns. They come out and they're like calling out MJF. The Guns are money. Juice is money. It's fucking BCG 444 for life. And then they call out MJF and they're just like, look, dude, like, fuck you. We know it was you. We're going to beat your ass for jumping our boy. MJF pleads his case, but he's not being a pussy. He calls them all out. He pulls a rock and says, oh, we're going to have this side of the arena go ass boys. And then this side of the arena is going to go talentless taint. And even though one side of the arena was empty, but they still shout out Stockton. Like they were loud as fuck. I don't know if AEW figured out how to like mic the crowd better. I'm not sure if they figured that out or anything, but this crowd was actually lit for everything. So Max roasts them though, and is like, he goes over the shit he's done, and everyone pops for like all the heel shit he's done over the 4 years. And then he talks about whipping Cody Rhodes with the belt and all that. And then he roasts these guys. I don't know. He does little childish. He's catering to the man children. I've said it before. So, but this was really strong stuff. And again, it's featuring all the wrestlers I like. So then MJF is like, I know, let's have a Stockton street fight. He gets in the ring and the Bullet Club Gold, they're like, you know what I mean? They're like acting scared and they're like, oh no, don't come get us. And then they powder out. And then MJF's like, what the fuck? And then Jay White runs up behind him, hits the switchblade. Jay White grabs the AEW world title, jacks it. He just steals the triple B from MJF, and then he cuts a promo. Jay White's always fire on the promo. MJF and Jay White is a brilliant matchup. I'm so glad Jay White's in the world title picture. Now, throughout this show, Switchblade Jay White referred to the AEW World Championship as the AEW World Heavyweight Championship, something they do many times throughout the show, which I'm going to touch on in a bit. But yeah, so this was great shit. And then they're going to have a match at Full Gear. Yeah. So now Renee Paquette's backstage with FTW champion Hook and Orange Cassidy. They're eating chips and just going whatever. This was the biggest. Why even waste 3 minutes on this show? They should have cut this segment out to replay the fucking Adam Cole thing, because this was pointless. This was dumb. This is Tony Khan stuffing these guys on here, but it was relegated to one segment and then it was nowhere else to be seen on the show. That's all Orange Cassidy did. He ate a Lay's chip. It was literally 1 second of time, so I can't shit on it that bad. Please keep it to a minimal. Put Orange on Rampage. I'm sorry. I know you guys like this guy. I didn't realize he's 40. People are like, Orange is I think that international title run was his run. I feel like that was his career run for Tony Khan. I truly think that. I don't think Tony Khan is going I'm going to make him world champ after and shit. I don't think that's what he's going to do. And if he does, okay, but I just don't. I think that was Orange's run right there in the business. And now he's going to help out more backstage and just do comedy shit, because at least that's what I'm hoping, because they kept this to a minimum, thank God, and it's just ruining Hook. No one wants to see Hook with Cassidy. I don't know. You can just tell Tony Khan had to stuff this in there. So this is the one thing I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up. But they are setting up the rematch, though, Phoenix versus Mox next week. So yeah, dude, Title Tuesday, Tony Khan's birthday present to himself. So then we had the Golden Jets, Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega. They took on the Don Callis family, Takeshita and Cal Fletcher. Now, Callis is fire at the commentary booth. This match was actually great. It was great. They weren't doing too much, and somehow Fletcher fits seamlessly in here. Like, he's better in this group than Guevara. Like, he tags with Takeshita. He has just automatic chemistry with all these guys. I don't know. There's something in Fletcher that clearly everyone sees. I see it too. He's a guy that if you put him in WWE, he's gonna be a good hand. You put him in AEW, he's gonna be a good hand. You put him anywhere, he's gonna be a good hand. I don't know. He fit in this match so well. I couldn't even believe it, and I hope, fuck man, Aussie Open should just join the family. And now the family's getting super over with me. Omega and Jericho are getting over with me. They're not. I said it. I was like, dude, they're going to team up and it's going to be chubby Jericho botching all the double teams that Kenny wants to do with him. No, their double teams are like double suplex. They do the fucking Judas effect elbow, and then Kenny gets the guy up and one winged angels him and pins him. Kyle was working well. Takeshita is $1 million. Fucking Jim Cornette will tell you that. That guy is another guy. Like, if you put him in WWE, he'd be a top guy without question. He is a phenomenal athlete. He's just smooth, man. His shit looks real. He's believable. His selling's good. Oh man, it's the little things Takeshita does. Like, someone grabs him by the back of the head and they try to walk him to the corner. And they walk him to the corner to maybe, slam his head in the corner, or when you toss him, when you sling him for an Irish whip. It's just the way that Takeshita runs, hits the ropes, the way he's placing his head. I don't know. It's just those little things that register with me where I go, he just gets it. Like, he's a star, like, just waiting to explode. And they're booking him so well. And so the big thing, though, is the Jericho and Omega get the win. Finally, Omega gets a win. He's been losing a bunch. But then Powerhouse Hobbs, man, jumps Jericho and Omega, slaughters them both. Powerhouse Hobbs is in the Callis family. I'm going, yeah, let's go. Powerhouse Hobbs. We got Wardlow. Like, this show was fucking awesome. And I don't know if I skipped over it, but at one point as well, I'll talk about it after. Powerhouse Hobbs, man, he just beats the fuck out of Jericho and Omega. Now, this segment did go a little long, and it's because Callis duct taped Omega's hands to the ropes so that they could beat him down with a chair. Omega's left hand wouldn't stay taped to the rope, right? So what's his face was just fucking Takeshita was just holding his arm on the rope, and then Omega's other hand was taped so tightly to the rope you could see it going like pale and blue, dude. I could see it, and I was calling it out. And so what happens is then you got Hobbs holding that arm, and then Callis grabs a chair and he does a fucking headshot, chair shot, dude. A chair shot to the fucking head of Kenny Omega. Now, I'm okay with these, and he caved this chair in on Omega's head. Now, I'm okay with these once in a while, and people go, no, listen. MMA fighters get hit in the head. Football players get hit in the head. They find CTE in runners and soccer players. So soccer players head the ball, and from running, they find it in Olympic runners and bicyclists. They find CTE from fucking running and pedaling, bouncing up and down. What they're finding is when you have a baby, you put a baby on your lap and you shake them on your thigh. Doctors tell you don't do that. You shouldn't be doing that, apparently. So just a word to the wise, dude. Like, and we all were treated that way. It's probably why society's dumbing down so much. No, I'm just joking, but no, like, I'm okay with the chair shot as long as like everyone involved is okay, and it's just once in a while, and it means something. And this did mean something, but Kenny couldn't sell it as good. Like, instantly, you could see he started untaping his other wrist. So people are gonna shit on him for not selling the chair shot, but his hand probably felt like it was gonna pop off. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever had that where your finger or something, like the circulation's being cut off. That shit is fucked. And you could see his hand was fucking pasty, like it was turning blue. So he was ready to, I don't know, you could just see him hurrying to get that tape off of the one wrist. So the one wrist wouldn't tape and the other one fucking did tape, was taped too hard. But I don't know. Again, this is another great, like Hobbs just left them both dead. And then he took the head chair shot. And I'm just like, God damn, man, they are really like getting this over with me. I don't know. And the Callis family's getting hot. And this angle was nice. I love this. Great heat. And it just went a smidge too long, but you could tell they were just fumbling with the fucking tape. So, and then like Hobbs too, he's a little green as far as like, timing and shit, but it's all coming together. It's Callis is going to work with him. And I don't know. I like this young Callis family. I can't put it over enough. So Renee Paquette's backstage with MJF. She asks MJF how he's doing. MJF's like, it'd be an easier pill to swallow if Adam Cole was here. Max Caster sneaks up behind MJF and starts massaging him. And then MJF's like, dude, stop talking to me. Stop fucking sending me creepy, sus fucking. I don't know. The whole gimmick is that, like, okay, Anthony Bones is gay. Max Caster is like a straight dude, but he might be DL. He's kind of sus. He's like a Drake. His wrestling gimmick is Drake. He's like a really good rapper, probably in the closet, but isn't, type thing. And that's like, and then his partner's outwardly gay and is his hype man. It's fucking genius. It's so good. And then you just have Daddy Ass, who's just like, he's the ass man, dude. He loves to hug him, he loves to kick him, he loves to shove him, he likes to kiss him. He's the ass man, dog. Yeah, get me the ass man. So anyways, though, yeah, he's sussing out MJF calls Adam Cole, goes to voicemail. At some point, we get a Samoa Joe package where he again refers to the AEW title as the World Heavyweight Championship. Again, something I told AEW to do this whole time. I've been saying since the beginning of this podcast, hey, weight classes work. Establish your title as the heavyweight title and then make a junior heavyweight title and do all the flips. And everyone will go, oh, that's okay. That's how you win. Trust me. Okay. So it looks like that's what they're headed towards, which I'll explain a bit later. So up next, though, we get the main event. So they pulled a WWE here. They pulled a WWE. They put a solid, strong women's match in the main event match slot, but the main event segment was the person we all came to see. So they pulled a Monday Night Raw. Yeah, and all the AEW stands have to apologize to everyone. They're doing WWE and it's their best shit. Right? So all you stands who are going, what a great Dynamite, you have to. So it was shorter matches, less flippy shit, focused on a few strong angles, focused on getting certain people over, featured the wrestlers that everyone wants to see. Like it was all big body shit. And then we had one match that was like flippy cruiserweight shit. So this is WWE. They featured a women's match in the fucking main event. Right, but the main event wasn't the main event, and y'all didn't even think about that, and you're gonna put this shit over, and then you're gonna put over this Edge Christian shit, which is the most WWE shit ever, and you're gonna put this shit over. Meanwhile, you call this shit all the time, and that's why Hairline and I try to point this shit out to you guys. That's why we do our show the way we do it, because we need motherfuckers to understand. That's why we do our clips the way we do them, because we need people to understand. Hopefully, if we can wake up a few people. Like, nah, you got to call it out when it's good. You got to call it out when it's bad. Simple and plain. So this was all really great. It's great. We got a segment with Toni Storm with RJ City, and she's just more of a wreck. And she's just like grabbing him and touching him like inappropriately and just like all over him, like, the business, it's all this stuff. And then, like, she's just acting like fucking Marilyn Monroe. And she's like, oh, times have passed me by. And what am I to do? What am I to do? And then RJ City goes, you're not even that old. And then Toni Storm goes, you're right. I'm timeless. And now she's full blown in this gimmick. She's like a 1930s, 1920s movie film actress in distress on the tail end of her career. Her attire is like old. It's like modern because it's hiked up on her nice juicy booty. Sorry, I gotta call it out. You know what you're doing, Tony. And it's like more of like a sexy version of like what Mildred Burke would wear, of like what Fabulous Moolah would wear back in the day. And it's just all black, simple, no design, black boots. And she's got her hair's done, whatever, and her makeup's all distraught. And she comes out like she's been smoking cigarettes and drinking wine and taking pills type thing. And she's just this distraught actress, the timeless Toni Storm, and the music's different. And just her gimmick, the way she's working the crowd, the way she works her hip attack move now, the whole gimmick is just awesome. And then Sky Blue, so she wrestles Sky Blue and she beats Sky Blue, which is the way it should be. But fuck, man, Sky Blue is just better with every single match. And she was phenomenal in this match, dude. She knew where to be. I don't know. She has a future. Sky Blue, again, in AEW, WWE, wherever they put her, she's going to be good. It's kind of shitty where it's like, Sky Blue, like, are you in Ring of Honor? Like, I would love to see her, like, just maybe doing something with Athena. Like, they already did something, but like doing a real story. She wrestled Athena just because, like, oh, she's on a winning streak. I would love to see Sky just be more active in the division and just, I don't know, team pair with someone who can cut better promos, whatever. But she was phenomenal in this match. That thing's thanging too, bro. Both these girls are just And but the match was great too, honestly, and it didn't feel like it went too long. Like I was just into the match because Toni was, I don't want to say carrying it, but she's calling it, and just shout out both of these women. So we get Renee backstage again with Stokely Hathaway. And yeah, I think I mentioned Samoa Joe, though. He's like wearing a suit, smoking a cigar, drinking whiskey, putting over the title. He's like, I've been a champion everywhere I've gone. And he's just like, I'm coming for the world heavyweight title. It's just, they're just putting over that it's the world heavyweight championship, which I love. So Renee was backstage with Stokely Hathaway. He cut some shit saying on Rampage, there's going to be a 4-way to determine the challenger for Eddie Kingston's ROH World Championship. And it's like Lindsay Dorado versus Commander versus fucking just so Rampage is still Rampage. Rampage is just random and good, though. Like, have a show for your random Mark Dark elevation matches and shit. Like, do that. I don't give a fuck. Like, keep it there. Like, and they're really, you can tell they're building up this Collision. Edge is going to be on it, and I just can't wait for Collision now either. They're getting me invested. Like, okay, Dynamite, Collision, Raw, SmackDown. Like, I'm really actually like hyped for Collision again. So thank God. And the last Collision was a good show. Like, their last couple Collisions have been good. Production botches aside. Or the last Collision, I don't know if I was too big on it, but the one before was good. Anyways, so yeah, this is, I don't know. They just have Stokely. I love Stokely, but Eddie's like, whatever. I got nothing. Someone took like a shot at him about, yeah, Stokely did. He's like, called him, I don't know. We call him fucking Ben and Jerry's. That's what Hairline calls him, but I think he made some sort of fucking ice cream reference or something. I don't know, dude. Stokely Hathaway listens to PWT, confirmed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the main event segment, the rated R superstar Adam Copeland makes his Dynamite debut. And I realized that his music actually goes, "You think you know him." It's not "You think you know me." WWE owns that. It goes, "You think you know him." Dun, 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 which is funny because some people memed that on like fucking X and Twitter. So there you go. So Edge comes out, he gets a huge pop, and he only runs to one side of the fucking arena instead of both to do his like stage taunt or whatever he does, because only one side of the building's full. Not to be a hater. I'm not hating on that at all. And this segment was fucking brilliant. He calls out Christian Cage and says, or he just says what he says, that he reiterates what he said at the press conference. He's like, look, I'm here to make a difference. And I could wrestle Jay White, Juice Robinson, Kenny Omega, all these fucking people I never had a chance to wrestle. I can wrestle now. And not only that, my daughter said, why don't you go have fun with Uncle Jay? He goes, so I'm going to call Jay down here, or who you guys know, I'll call him Christian Cage, because that's what you guys call him. So Christian Cage, get out here. Christian comes out. And let me just tell you, Edge is banging on the mic, emotional, passionate. But I have it in my notes. I'm going to just do my notes after, because I know I wrote over some things that I forgot to bring up. But, Edge, he's used to the old Vince fucking, look at the universe, pal. Don't look at the camera. And so Edge is and you see it with a lot of these guys, like he's looking at the crowd. So he's facing away from the hard cam for a bunch of it because there's nobody over there. And he's not, and that's why most people in AEW, they just start looking in the camera because the hard cam's on that side. So they look in the camera and fucking cut their promos when they want to face that side of the arena, right? So even Edge, when he does his normal hard cam metal fingers, right? he did it to the other side of the arena because there's nobody fucking. I don't know, man. They got to start. They got to figure out what like the way they set up the pay-per-view was great. They put all the 6K people just around the ring, and then they just sort of filmed around that, and then they had enough people to kind of fill that hard cam side. They got to figure out or just start running smaller buildings if that's gonna how it's gonna be, or hopefully their attendance goes up because of these good shows. But this was all fucking money. But Edge was at first just awkward. You could tell he's like, try to talk to the universe, pal, but he just couldn't because he didn't know. It's like, no, Edge, look in the camera, like just look in the hard cam. So, anyways, though, Edge is marking out because he's in the ring with Tony Schiavone. He kicks Schiavone out of the ring, which is cringe. Like, why have him there? Like Edge is like, yeah, get out of here. So he takes off, whatever. Christian comes down. His facials are great. These guys just fucking are so good. And Edge is just cutting this promo like, dude, it's impassionate. He's like, dude, for 40 years, we've been best friends. Like, it's time. It's time. What we always talked about, Christian, it's time. And Christian's not saying anything. He's just looking there with a look on his face like he's really considering this shit. Bro, this was fucking money and brilliant. Edge is like, it's time. What we always talked about. Now's the time for us to team up again and end our careers together, showing like beating the Young Bucks, beating FTR, showing these teams that we're the fucking best in the world, showing this new generation like what the fuck we came to do. He's like, come on, man, that's what it is. Opens his arms out for a hug. Christian comes in like he's about to cry. He hugs Edge. He holds the mic behind Edge's back and he's like, go fuck yourself. But they censored it. And he said, go fuck yourself. And they fucking censored it. And the fucking crowd was like, oh shit. And then Christian just walked out of the ring, walked away. Edge's face selling it so good. And then they kind of muddied it up with Christian going, here's a taste of what you're going to get on Collision or on Dynamite next week. And then it's fucking Luchasaurus and Nick Wayne come out. That was a little too much. They didn't attack them. They just stood on the ramp and then the show went off air. They should have just went off air with fucking Christian just staring at Edge or whatever, and then Edge looking shocked, whatever. It was like a Monday Night Raw, dude. It went off the air exactly like a WWE would. I was hooked to so much of the show. I could not look away from the TV, especially this segment. I couldn't look away. I had to rewind some shit and watch some of it again because it was just so good. And yeah, man, this is a really fucking strong Dynamite. I'm super pumped to watch Collision and see Edge on there. And I'm super pumped for Title Tuesday on Tony's birthday. It'll be great. Yeah, October, babies. And I booked Title Tuesday, October 10th on my own birthday. I booked Edge's debut match on my own birthday, and I moved Dynamite to Tuesday for my birthday. It'll be great. And I love it, dude. I love that, and I'm excited for next week's Title Tuesday to see Tony Khan, I don't know, book this whole fucking show for himself. So I did take some notes here. These were my notes as I was watching. I'll just breeze through this. So I wrote, everything was so good. The pacing and formatting, the production botched this Adam Cole thing, but they replayed it, and apparently it was on TBS's end. Also, it just shed a few minutes off the 6-man bullshit match, which made it better. I wrote, Kenny took the chair shot to the head. Hobbs joins the Callis fam, which is awesome. It went a little too long and got botched because of the tape. Kenny couldn't sell the chair shot well enough because the circulation was being cut off in his hand. Either way, great heat. Chair shots to the head are okay once in a while. I wrote, timeless Tony Storm is on another level. There's dope vignettes for Samoa Joe and shit. They used wrestlers. I love this show. They kept the flippy shit to one match. I wrote, Edge is in there. Or I wrote, MJF is in a real title match situation with Jay White. That's compelling and awesome. Edge is here. They're referring to the AEW title as the AEW World Championship now. The World Heavyweight Championship, rather. Sorry. They're referring to it as the heavyweight title. They showed the matches for Rampage, and that's still random, whatever. I wrote, they need to keep this going. This is actually a new era if they keep booking and formatting like this, and they got me wanting to watch Collision again. Excalibur botched a few times. He just should only be on Rampage and kept off the main shows. I'm sorry, he's just insufferable. Also, Edge's music in AEW goes, you think you know him, not me. Okay, I talked about all that. And I wrote, I'm just marking out so hard seeing E and C in the ring together, bro. It's insane. They're doing brilliant work like I knew this would be. This Dynamite was so WWE and so good. Also, the AEW World title was referred to as the World Heavyweight Championship multiple times by multiple people on this show. They're making a conscious effort to get that heavyweight title across, and I'm so thankful. It's like Tony Khan is listening to the pod confirmed. Yeah, I mean, I called it. Edge and Christian are going to fight and then team up, which is what it is. They laid the seeds, right? They're going to fight, then they're going to team up. And then I just wrote, they literally pulled my suggestion of showing the big star at the start, teasing him, and then waiting till the end. They did a WWE booking, solid women's match in the main event, then had a brilliant ratings grabbing segment at the end of the show, something that people will tune in at the end of the show to watch. The matches were all perfect lengthwise for me. Great stuff. Great job, AEW. They fucking did it. I was talking to Hairline today. He's doing real good, guys. And he's, I don't know if, I don't think he watched Dynamite yet. Hopefully he's as pumped as on it as I am, or as I was. And yeah, man, I'm just excited to, I don't know, man, see where they take this thing. Honestly, I'm staying optimistic. Things weren't perfect, but they're good enough. Yeah, dude. Now, the last thing I wanted to talk about, I guess, on the show, because I have a bit of time, is I just think it's funny how, I don't know if you guys listen to the Jim Cornette Experience, but he's been going through this thing with Cast Media and Podcast One, and they stole all this money from him and all these other like podcasters, like famous people, Whitney Cummings, Sarah Silverman, Theo Vaughn, right? And so I've been following that saga close because I'm a big fan of like stand-up comedy and MMA and stuff. And on this show, I've talked about the Fighter and the Kids subreddit and Brendan Schaub, which isn't really wrestling related, but it is because Schaub used to pretend to be a pro wrestling fan, and then he'd shit on pro wrestling and that sort of thing. So he's just an all-around kind of goofball of a guy, right? And people clown on him. His fan base went from, his subreddit turned into a subreddit literally dedicated to people cosplaying as people who work as homeless cats who work at a PF Chang's, and they make fun of this guy. I can't even begin to explain how funny it is, but it's the funniest shit ever. And it's not bullying, because this Brendan Schaub guy, he's just a fucking weasel. And that is why I bring this up. So Jim Cornette, right? He's had a bunch of money stolen from him by this fucking Colin Thomson Cast Media guy. And so what this Colin Thomson, CoffeeZilla, if you're familiar with him, he just exposed Logan Paul and shit. And that's why I bring this all up, because it is wrestling related, right? And so he exposed Logan Paul for stealing money from those NFTs and all that shit. And so he exposed this Colin Thomson guy for stealing money from everyone. And he actually talked to Brian Last and Jim Cornette on his expose. And he also talked to Brendan Schaub in this. And it's so funny because Brendan Schaub's show, Brendan Schaub like went and convinced a bunch of people to get with this Colin Thomson guy, which is so funny. So I bring this up because fucking Jim Cornette just released a video that I'm about to go where, and I implore you guys to go listen. He's got like, it's like a 15 part. If you just go on Jim Cornette's YouTube channel, there's like 15 parts to this series of him just talking about what happened. And it's just compelling shit. I don't know, maybe because I'm into wrestling and podcasting, it's extra compelling to me. But either way, so this guy's been hustling money from all these podcasters, and he did so to try and sell this company right. So he basically, it just keeps all their money and doesn't pay them, but he gives them these guarantees, quote unquote. And so what happened was, Brendan Schaub's on this CoffeeZilla video with Brian Last and Jim Cornette. Shout out CoffeeZilla. And Jim Cornette's on there being interviewed by CoffeeZilla, and he's going, and he's telling his friends and his co-host Brian Callen that they're missing 400 grand, and each of his shows are missing 400 grand. So that's 1.6 million. That's 1.6 million, Bubba. He's saying to CoffeeZilla, yeah, you know, like 1.6 billion or million were fucking stole from us, and I'm a victim from anybody. And then the fucking report comes out. So Jim Cornette's been exposing how this Colin Thomson guy's been offering deals to everyone like, hey, if you sign with us, we'll pay you what you're owed, but then you're under a deal with us. So everyone is like, no, fuck you. We'll sue you. We'll expose you. Jim Cornette's roasting this idiot. Brendan Schaub goes, Okay. He fucking signs with this guy, and it came out in this report. Colin Thomson paid Brendan Schaub $1.6 million. So now Jim Cornette's making videos, and I just can't believe it. It's like two universes of the Fighter and the Kid subreddit, r/the Fighter and the Kid, mixed with Jim Cornette now. I can't believe it. Two universes emerged, and now Jim Cornette's like, fuck this Brendan Schaub guy. And it's so funny because all because Schaub is lying. Like, he actually got fucking paid. Like, Colin Thomson paid this dude's 1.6, and then he signed with this dude, further fucking himself. Oh, and like, if you know Brendan Schaub, he's like, oh, I'm a marketing guy. Like, he even criticizes Joe Rogan. Who's his friend, by the way. The only reason Brendan Schaub has anything to do with comedy is because of Joe Rogan. I've heard him shit on even oh, I'm the best brains for the business. Yeah, like that. Brendan Schaub like thinks he's a marketing whiz. He fucking signed with this guy, and like Rolling Stone or someone wrote this. I can't remember who. This giant mainstream publication wrote this story about how fucking Schaub actually was paid 1 million, but he actually signed with the dude to get his 1.6, and then is still lying to all his friends, telling him this guy still owes him the money. And now Jim Cornette's roasting him and going, well, fuck, we're owed like fucking a third of that or whatever, like, shit, you paid this guy with our fucking money and shit. So fuck this guy. And it just couldn't be funnier. It just couldn't be a funnier thing. So I just wanted to sign off the show by telling you guys, go look into the Fighter and the Kid subreddit if you ever have time, and find that sort of thing funny. Like, I don't know, if you find, like, personally me, dude, I find a lot of like the LA comedy scene, like, that shit has gotten so cringe. The Joe Rogan sphere of podcasting friends, super friends, I think that shit has gotten so cringe over the years. And Brendan Schaub is a big reason why. Check out r/the Fighter and the Kid if you're on Reddit, and check out the Jim Cornette experience. Just type in Jim Cornette, Colin Thomson, and shout out CoffeeZilla too. Check that all out, because it is interesting stuff if you're into, like, I don't know, behind the scenes, because it does have to do with wrestling. Like, this guy's exposed Logan Paul too and stuff like that. So it does have to do with it if you're into wrestlers and their lives, and not just the shows and shit itself. So I'm gonna go listen to Cornette fucking destroy Brendan Schaub. And yeah, that's been Pro Wrestle Times podcast. Again, I told you guys, thanks for listening. I'm sorry it's just me solo. Hairline, I think, will be back sooner than later, but I think it will be like around November 1st. We'll have him back. I think that's really what's set in his mind. And guys, I appreciate just the love, and we're hitting the algorithm hard. We're blowing up hard. So now the haters are in there talking that shit. You guys show up, tell these guys why you love the show. You see someone hating in those comments, go under there and explain to them why you like it, man. They hear a clip of me criticizing AEW, and then they just call me a knee drone. They hear a clip of me criticizing WWE, and then they come in and just tell me I'm a fucking mark, and, oh, you've never taken a bump. Fucking, we got failed rappers coming up in our comments going, oh, you've never taken a bump. Hey, go fuck yourself. Anyways, yeah, dummies, yeah.
Dummy, yeah.
So yeah, guys, just thanks for listening, and I appreciate you all so much. If you want to support the show, check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/ProWrestleTime. Shout out Mark You the Mark, Ricardo Reggie Rodriguez, and I love how we just gave him a name, and Ashley V. And I told you guys, I'm going to try and double, triple the content for 50% of our show being gone. You know what I mean? Yeah. And yeah, guys, I appreciate you all so much. The free way to support us, you just go hit that like, you hit that subscribe button. Show these motherfuckers what's up. You already know. Cue that Stranger Things if it ain't already playing. Dummy, yeah.
Dummy, yeah.
Phil's here, and now I'm out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Hairline wasn't here, but he's out too, and we give him a yeah because we love him. But this time it's a Macho Man.
Oh, yeah.
Hairline! Hairline!